What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button because that is the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does is that it helps to make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get the notifications, and it helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm. Secondly, if you're new to the channel or maybe you've been ghost watching this channel for quite some time now, please do me a favor and do yourself a favor by hitting the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure you share this video out on your social media platforms to inform your family and friends of this news and information. And that also gives me an extra added boost in the YouTube algorithm. And with the introduction out of the way, let's now get into today's news. And in today's news, we are going to head over to Florida because there is big news coming out of Florida concerning an sex trafficking ring that was busted down there concerning 228 people involved, if I remember correctly. I believe it was 228 people. And when I originally came across the story yesterday, I didn't think much of it because I saw that out of 228 people, there were roughly around 21 illegal immigrants involved. But what I originally thought, because there wasn't much information in that article, is that these were maybe 21 of Biden's migrants who were just simply paying to play, if you know what I mean. So I said, I get it. It's whatever, right? I didn't really think much of it. But after I came across this news clip that I'm going to play for you now, it is a lot deeper than Biden's migrants simply paying to play. So let's get into this right now as we get this video started.
Well, Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd joins us now. Sheriff, good work on all this. How did you get started on this whole investigation?
Thank you, Elizabeth. My detectives, who are the very best, worked with the local police detectives, and we all do these operations over and over and over again. So it's no secret to anyone in this county. Of the 228 arrested, only 42 were from this county, and they obviously live under a rock because we arrest many people. We were shocked. We had school teachers, we had coaches, we had a former detention deputy, and you see that we had victims that came to this country illegally. They were indentured to human traffickers. In order to pay their way, they had to forward $3,000 a piece every Friday to their pimp or their trafficker.
So let's stop right there. What we're seeing now happening because of Biden's crisis, right? The migrant crisis, which is the Biden crisis, is that opportunists are exploiting the migrant crisis, which was created by Biden, in order to create an indentured servitude system in which women who are south of the border from Venezuela, who can't afford to take the trek up to the U.S. border through paying Mexican cartel members, those who can't afford to do that now get involved with this sex trafficker in Florida. And we're going to find out who she is as well. But they get involved with her, to which she states, hey, I'll set up your entire situation for you to come over here to America. And in exchange for that, you don't have to give me any upfront money. But what you're going to do is work for me. And I'm going to be your pimp. And you're going to pay me $3,000 a week in order for you to pay me back for me bringing you up here. Now let's get into this video some more to find out who this female pimp is and where she's from and whether or not she's legal.
You mentioned you had a school teacher, a coach. What were these people doing or accused of doing?
They were all soliciting prostitutes. In fact, we had 2 from the Air Force and 1 who was going to join the Air Force. We had 2 or 3 coaches and a teacher. We had a former detention deputy, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. Those people should know better.
Yeah.
They are public servants, but they got caught up and they got arrested.
How do these women fall victim to this kind of trafficking? Those women from Venezuela who we just saw in that hotel room, that you say they're being forced to pay up $3,000 a week, which is a huge sum of money for these folks.
Think about that. If they're paying up $3,000 a week, how much money are they actually making to sell their bodies? I mean, they must be making a lot of money that trafficking ring was very lucrative if they can afford to pay up $3,000 after the fact. Or maybe, maybe they're not keeping much money afterwards also. I don't know much about the, that culture and that underworld. Maybe that's probably 95% of their earnings as far as I know. But just the fact that they're even able to pay up $3,000 a week to pay off their indentured servitude. Wow. Yeah, they're making money. They're making money down there with this.
Were these people, these traffickers, did they bring them here from Venezuela and that's why they're in their debt?
Let me rewind that part again, just because I interrupted. I want you guys to hear her question in full.
Those women from Venezuela who we just saw in that hotel room that you say they're being forced to pay up $3,000 a week, which is a huge sum of money for these folks. Were these people, these traffickers, did they bring them here from Venezuela and that's why they're in their debt?
Exactly, Elizabeth. They brought them over, and this is part of what they charged them. And they landed, when they came into the country, they were given some kind of documentation which allowed them to get on an airplane and fly free. The government paid for it, of course. They flew and were operating out of Yonkers, New York. The lead that we have on the human trafficker is that it's an illegal female Dominican in the South Florida area.
So an illegal Dominican female alien is the trafficker. She is the pimp. And it's important that I highlight that, and I didn't let that go over anyone's head, not to insult anyone's intelligence, because you're all listening, obviously. But based off of what I know I'm going to title this video as, it is important that I lay that framework out, right? Because this isn't me reaching when you saw the title of this video that prompted you to click on it. An illegal alien female is the human trafficker / pimp who is recruiting these Venezuelan women and bringing them into the country as she orchestrates it herself. And for them to pay her back, they have to sell their bodies in Florida to pay her $3,000 a week. So as you can see, this is clearly an illegal immigrant sex trafficking ring. Just wanted to make sure that that's solidified and understood.
So she would arrange and set up their meets, and then they would fly to the various areas. So our nearest large airport is the Tampa airport, about 30 minutes away. The three of the ladies flew in, plus the handler, which is to watch them and make sure that they work. Now, here's what's interesting. They told us this. We haven't verified it yet, but they said every time they flew, they presented those documents and flew for free. So we said, are you kidding us? So the federal government flew you to Tampa to have sex, to work, and we just can't believe it. So it's not just a one-way ticket. Apparently, they're able to fly several ways.
Wait, what is this documentation? I'm still confused.
So this is all being paid for by Joe Biden. Okay. I don't know. Biden Harris 2024. Biden Harris 2024.
As to what they're producing to get a free airline ticket.
Whenever they
Let me rewind that back just a little bit because I interrupted.
So the federal government flew you to Tampa to have to work, and we just can't believe it. So it's not just a one-way ticket. Apparently, they're able to fly several ways.
Wait, what is this documentation? I'm still confused as to what they're producing to get a free airline ticket.
Whenever they come into the country illegally and they register as
on the app, on the Border Patrol app?
Yes, it would be DHS. They are given a document so they can get on an aircraft without identification, without a driver's license, without the proper documentation that the rest of us have to have, and they're allowed to fly to, i.e., New York, and that's what happened.
Wow.
And then these folks independently during interviews told us they were allowed to fly any place they wanted to. Now, we haven't verified that, or we haven't verified how they worked that out, but they claim they didn't pay to fly. It's like kind of Southwest. You don't make you pay for the bags, you don't have to pay to fly, I guess, if you're illegal.
Yeah, and what they're most likely talking about, and I'm going to pull this up in closing, a lot of people have been discussing as of the past couple of days these secret flights being had under the Biden administration. And this actually, though it's news that's trending over the last couple of days, it actually isn't new news per se, right? It isn't new news per se. And this is actually something that I covered in a live stream a few months ago, back in September to be exact. Let me pull this up for you guys right now on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, back in September, I covered this, right? And it discussed the records of migrants, Biden migrants, who are flown into the country under the CBP-1 parole application. What I want to do right now is I just want to take a quick moment to just read that first paragraph for you. I don't want to go through this whole document because, like I said, I did that once before back in September on a live stream. But I will read this first paragraph highlighted in yellow here. So the article is titled New Records, Biden DHS has approved hundreds of thousands of migrants for secretive foreign flights directly into U.S. airports. And the highlighted section reads as such: a little known part of Biden's administration's CBP-1 parole program permits inadmissible aliens to make an appointment to fly directly to airports in the interior of the United States, bypassing the border altogether. Partial data on the program just obtained by the Center for Immigration Studies pursuant to a Freedom of Information Act request reveals that more than 200,000 people from 4 countries have used this direct flight and parole program over the past year. Now, that number, if I'm not mistaken, it has increased to over 300,000 now, right? Because like I said, this story is trending again, but just with more updated information that we're seeing now. So it's over 300,000 that have flown in now. And another thing that is highlighted in this article is that DHS is not revealing which airports they're flying into. They're not revealing that. That's one thing that within this Freedom of Information Act, they will not reveal. They're not revealing which airports and which cities these migrants, Biden's migrants, are flying to. But if I had to guess, this has to be the program that they're using to fly them in. This is the program that the illegal alien female, who is the orchestrator of this SEX trafficking ring, this is what she's utilizing to fly and bring Biden's migrants in to partake in SEX trafficking here in the United States, right? If I had to take a logical, educated guess based off of what we're hearing, like he said, I don't know that to be a fact that they're using this app, just like the sheriff said, he hasn't verified that for himself. But if we're just using common sense and logic based off of the information that we have, in my opinion, this is not a point of fact, but in my opinion, they're using this application, right? And they're using it by way of Biden. So you can say, arguably, Biden is flying these folks in to participate in, illegal activities in the United States. So thank you, Biden. Thank you, Biden. And that does it for today's news. So I want to thank you all for joining me today. Please hit that like button on your way out. Hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button. Share this video out on your social media platforms and follow me on Telegram if you haven't already at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegram will be in the description box below, as well as pinned in the comment section below as well. And until the next video, peace. Have a great afternoon and a safe afternoon.